Good evening, class. Here we are again. We're back with our class this evening. We would like to discuss continuation of Module 4. That is already, we are already in Lesson 4.3. Now, as what we have discussed last time, in Module 4, this is institutional and organizational framework of for the analysis of agribusiness systems. And we have discussed the a number of approaches and also uh, analytical framework that for the analysis of like agribusiness system. This time we go into some of the qualitative measure of the performance of agribusiness system. This time we will tackle on a very important topic on corporate social and ethical responsibility. It's not as a business, as a business, agribusiness systems, you're not only responsible for your stockholders or for the owners of the enterprise, but you are also responsible for the community and the entire environment. That's why we need to see if the enterprise is responding to the call, not only to the call of the owners of the company or owners of the enterprise in terms of profitability and other measure, but it is also responding to its responsibility in being able to really be a responsible member of society, because an enterprise is a legal person in itself. So you have to also to be more responsible in dealing with the community and also in the kind of products that you produce. That's why we need to discuss something about corporate social and ethical responsibility. Now, to start with, we have this particular lesson that will bring us on some of the basic or some common, I would say, common measures of or considerations when we talk about social or ethical responsibility of agribusiness systems. Now, this this different, say for example, measures can be seen in terms of, like for example, accreditation labels or something like proof of compliance on this particular aspect. Now we will be talking about compliance on sustainability requirement, compliance on resilience, and compliance on inclusiveness. These are very important measures of like for example, performance in terms of being able to address social and ethical responsibility of the enterprise. Okay, so we have here some discussions. Firstly, we need to tackle about the issue on sustainability, and then we go to resilience and then inclusiveness. So you have here sustainability talks about meeting the present needs without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet its own needs. That means to say, you're not only talking about resources available, inputs, raw materials available now, but you have to think about how the supply base of this particular material could also be made available sometime in the future for other generations to take advantage. And then we also have resilience, that is the ability of the firm to cope with or absorb an external shock or extreme event that threatens the business survival. Okay. Moreover, inclusiveness is connection or inclusion of other players to agricultural value chains. Now, at the end of this discussion, we have here, we will also bring you to some common seal of compliance of this particular, say for example, labels. No? Now we tackle first on sustainability. What is sustainability? Okay, we have discussed that. Sustainability as a method of harvesting or using a resource, no? A resource, so that a resource is not depleted or permanently damaged. Okay? You drew or you mine, you harvest, whatever, so that you're not only thinking of the needs at present, but you also think about how this will regenerate and be made available sometime in the future generation. So it is based upon the need to consume resources, but that needs must not be greedy enough to consume the here and now only, but you're not thinking about the future. So as a concept, sustainability is defined as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the future generation to meet their own needs. That is Brundtland at 1987. No? So what are the areas for sustainability? Well, environmental, economic, and social. Okay. In other words, there are it's this is often referred to as the triple bottom line or TBL. The triple bottom line, you have environmental, economic, and social. So in other words, in some literature, it's known as planet, profit, and people. Okay, that is the triple bottom line. Three P's or planet, profit, and people when we talk about sustainability. Okay. Now there is also such thing as environmental sustainability. It is essentially or is essential if we wish to have to continue to have resources to meet the current and future generation. Environmental sustainability. Now, in an organization where economic is more important, economic sustainability is of course uh, like generating profit now without having to really uh, without having to deplete or like for example say uh, deplete or without having to deplete or without thinking about uh, say for example uh, operating to the maximum and then uh, with no worry about the future, something like that. Just like for example in mango spraying, no, in mango. Now, if the practice is not sustainable, you spray the you induce the mango to flower, massive flowering, and then you harvest everything because the, if there is a flower, for sure you are going to get, for example, the so much of there is flower, there is fruit, and then you harvest so much. In other words, you deplete the nutrient of the tree that is providing you the profit. That is unsustainable. That is an unsustainable practice. Okay, so if you are going to practice sustainability or economic sustainability, you spray not everything in that particular tree, remain, allow other branches to, to have leaves and do not flower, so that there is still going to be a store of nutrient or store of capability to produce nutrient even the tree is flowering or even after harvesting the fruits. No? Because ma-deplete ang nutrients sa kahoy. Now, what about socially sustainable? Okay, socially sustainable is you have here for example, equitably sharing of benefits in the decision making. Like for example, those stakeholders that are also participating, maybe farmers or maybe traders. There is an exchange of decision making where everybody can participate. Okay, and then social sustainability. You can also have the framework that recommends us social and environmental concern. No, so these are the three pillars of sustainability by Tedici et al. No, so you have here social, economic, and also environmental. So triple bottom lines. No? Now, somewhere at the center where there is an overlap between the three considerations for sustainability, this particular region is what we call as the sustainable region. Whatever practice that is socially sustainable, environmentally sustainable, and economically sustainable, then we go for that particular practice. Okay. Now, uh, the, the standard for sustainable agriculture or agribusiness covers the entire supply chain or value chain. What are the requirements for sustainability for agribusiness? One is administration, internal inspection, grievance mechanism, etc. No? That is one particular area. Another is traceability of products also for agribusiness. Traceability, online platform. You also have income and share responsibility, sustainability of investment, and supply chain contribution to living to for living wage payment. Okay, and then you also have what let me just backtrack a little. Supply contribution, supply chain contributions for living wage payment. What is this living wage payment? In other words, you're following the minimum standard of wage, enough to sustain decent livelihood. Dili ng, for example, you are underpaying your workers, and eventually manghawa na imong workers, it's really not a sustainable management operation. And then you have also social sustainability, where you have freedom from association, wage contracts, health and safety provided for by the organization. So these are some of the areas by which you can also be socially sustainable. And environment, you have wastewater management also. Now, complying on all listed requirements for business enterprise, sustainable systems and processes can be attained. No? So if you comply those areas there, then your business operation is also sustainable. No? As an international certifying body, you have here, we also have one particular, say for example, one particular certifying body, we call this Rainforest Alliance for Sustainability. Now, if we subject ourselves to RA or Rainforest Alliance, we have to comply all those requirements and all other requirements for assessment. And then how do we know that a firm is compliant to RA or Rainforest Alliance for sustainable systems? You can see in the products or the logo of the company with a frog seal. No? Frog seal. Now, there's a frog seal like this. No? Like this. There's a frog seal. Okay? You can see this. That means to say if it is attached to your product or attached to any of your communications or logo accompanying the logo of the company, it means that you are complying to the Rainforest Alliance requirement. No? So in that sense, you are going to really be more sustainable as a business as a business enterprise. No? So following the directives or following that requirement, you really have a premium also in being able to address the requirements of the industry, and there's a premium because you can actually be more competitive in the market. No? So another is you have these particular products already available in the market. In whatever products, agribusiness products is available, you have coffee and other tea or any particular product. This is just an example of a product that is sustainability with sustainability seal in their label. No, that means to say if you buy this particular product na aning mga seal, it means to say that this particular company or this particular product is following what we call as sustainable agribusiness systems or sustainable enterprise systems, both from the vantage point of the operation and even in the processing and production operation. Okay. Now, there is also what we call as another sustainability requirement. We call it the circular economy. Okay, the circular economy. Now, this one is a very new, not many firms are actually compliant to this, but this is an emerging proof of sustainability that recalls, like for example, circular economy. We mean complete recycling, zero waste management is a circular economy type of, like for example, quality compliance. No, this is practiced in some companies in Europe. For example, in Finland, they have this particular circular economy certification. Now, this actually refers to the ability of the company, ability of the firm in its management operation, in its processing operation, and all the activities of the firm to observe an environmentally manageable waste management practice. In other words, if you go into zero waste practice, that is a circular economy type of compliance. No? There's key principles of a circular economy concept. 3 R's, you are familiar with this: reduce, reuse, and recycle. And there's also what we call a 6 R's. We have reuse, recycle, redesign, remanufacture, reduce, recover. Okay? So in other words, to make, to consume, and to throw away pattern, okay, that is the linear model. Now, if sorry, if you go for if you go for like circular economy type of compliance, you don't need to throw away because you need to recycle and remanufacture it or reprocess it. Now, this is the seal of a circular economy certificate of compliance. No? This is an example of circular economic compliance. There are only very few companies that are practicing this. This is an emerging quality assurance compliance. If you go for this, there is also a premium for having to abide with this. But it will just be a matter of time that these particular requirements for quality and sustainability will be required to all companies trading in the global market. Okay? Now, sustainability, you also have different zeal of compliance. We go to resilience. How does a firm become resilient in its operation? So what is resilience, in other words, or resiliency? Is the ability of the firm to cope with and absorb an external shock or extreme event that threatens the business survival. Resiliency is focused on the firm's ability to adapt and also to return to normal operation, if not better than the normal operation from what it was before. No, that is to be more straightforward about resilience. Now, disruptions are unavoidable. That's why firm needs to adjust to disruptions because these are external to the environment. But if you have a production operation or an enterprise situation or operation that quickly adjusts to disruptions, then your firm is resilient. How do we make sure? How do we assess for the resilience, resilience ability of that party of any particular enterprise? Now there is also a quality audit for that. No, now there are recommendations for a firm to increase resiliency. One is having awareness or recognition of all threats or serious threats to the supply chain or business model. And then you also have formulate proactive risk management to each risk identified in the first step. Okay? And then invest in risk averting infrastructure. So you have to identify the risk and then provide the way for circumventing or maybe managing the risk. And we also have to invest on the risk. Now, how do we invest on risk averting infrastructure? Okay? How do we invest? Meaning to say, we subject our company for quality audit if it passes the resilience requirement. No? So there is an international body that accredits a firm whether it is resilient. One of the things that are very obvious to the for example to the customer is he is assured that your product is durable. Okay, when he is assured that your product is durable, then it also bears a premium. That's why if you can see a particular product label or the packaging and it bears the seal of resiliency, now that product is reliable. Okay, so number 4 is resource reconfiguration. Now, in the Philippines, we have climate resilience efforts. There are climate, because resilience can either be climatic, can either be physical also. No, the wear and tear, the normal wear and tear of the product. Okay, so you have resiliency and sustainability can also be combined together with climate resilient and sustainable also. Now, some documented climate resilient agriculture practice. You have agroforestry systems on a small scale. farmers cultivating vegetable, okay, and using adaptive cropping calendars that matches the requirements of the market without compromising the cropping pattern. So uh, the Philippines is also one of the countries that signed the Paris Agreement, and it's an international treaty whose central aim is to strengthen global response to threat of climate change. No? Now, the Climate Change Commission of the Philippines is the one that is advocating or making sure that this one is put in place in a lot of profit and non-profit oriented corporate companies. Okay? Now, the Climate Change Commission Advisory Board na ang NEDA dito, naapod ang mga sa Department of Environment and other related units. Now, they are certifying that, making sure that uh, the preparedness of different agencies on various situations. Now, that's why we need to uh, adapt, we need to comply the requirements of quality audit for resilience. Otherwise, you will also be lag behind in terms of quality audit. The following, say, highlights for key institutions who, whose main activity relates to one or two or the three uh, key, actually say, pillars of uh, that is PRA, PRA pillars of resilience. You have adaptation, productivity, and mitigation. Okay, so for mitigation, the different organization have this in their uh, adaptation. You have PCIC, you have national disaster, you have also productivity, national crop insurance, uh, national what's this, NCIP, National uh, Commission for Indigenous People, okay, National Commission for Indigenous People, and ACPC for, like, what? These are the ACPC are is an institution from the Department of Agriculture that is uh, providing resilience on adaptation and also productivity. But the following are actually compliant to resiliency organization that are compliant to resiliency provisions. You have the ATI, DA, OSEC, DAR, DOST, IRI, LGUs, NEDA, UNRES, PhilRISE. You have the SUCS, may ubang SUCS nga compliant na diyan, no? Resiliency requirement. So it's really very important to be to to adapt to this what we call as the CRA, or you have the climate resilient agriculture. Okay, so we are doing a project or doing an activity with the Department of Agriculture on CRA, or climate resilient agriculture, and we are actually partnering with them actively. No? So in climate resilient agriculture, there is also what we call as a partnership between agencies and institutions responsible for environmental management. No? Now, one of the things, resilient properties of products. Katulad niya, resilient characteristic or properties of organizations. No? This time, we go into specific product itself. Now, resilient properties of products are actually characteristic of products that assures the customer that it is of good quality and durable, and shelf life is trustworthy. Now, there is a certifying body that really relates to this, or that addresses this particular issue or provides this service. This is the ISO, or ISO, International Standard Organization, is one of the organization or certifying body related to product and services on quality performance. No? Now, BSU is certified by ISO, and we have that seal of resilience. We have the ISO 9001, ISO 9001 2015. No? Now, there is a need for improved coordination among commodity-based national programs at local and interinstitutional coordination in planning and implementation. No? Sorry. the role of RFOs and LGUs are crucial for climate resilient agriculture adaptation. That's why we partner with like the Department of Agriculture. Now, there is also a need for decentralization of extension with local government and still promote resilient agriculture. No? Now, this is the seal of compliance on quality standard from ISO 9001. No? If you have this seal in your product is assured to be durable, resilient, and reliable. Okay, reliable. That means to say whatever is expected to function, it can perform to the best of its quality. Whatever is the shelf life, it is guaranteed nga mulapas pa og shelf life. And whatever it is stated nga resistant to something, it is really resistant. Okay, it's true to what it claims to be. That is the importance. So if you have that particular seal in your product, because you cannot just put that particular seal of quality if you are not going to comply with the requirements. So that means to say it actually has a premium on the product. You compare non-ISO certified product with ISO certified product, you cannot actually compare because the ISO certified product is there is an assurance of good quality and durability, while the non-ISO product, well, you can just imagine anything that can happen with that product. Okay, so the ISO certification will also not only certify the product to be climate resilient, but it's also resistant to whatever wear and tear action of the weather, or the product really can perform um, as it claims to be, or the product can perform as expected in its product specification. Okay. Now, what are the bottlenecks in being able to comply with this? Okay. What are the bottlenecks? One of the bottlenecks could be being able to invest on this particular quality quality investment, no, or quality assurance, quality audit. You have to invest something, no. You have to invest something in order to be able to comply with this audit requirement on quality. No? And then not only that, you have to consider also other financial needs of your firm. No, so you have sustainability, you have resilience. Now we go to inclusiveness. So remember the our corporate social and ethical responsibility is defined or is influenced or can be articulated in these quality uh, three quality requirements of the product, or quality characteristic of the product, which is also known as three quality audit requirement of a particular product, that assures that you are using that your product is uh, socially and ethically responsible. Okay. Now the third requirement is, or the third quality audit requirement, or this is more of like ethically responsive quality requirement, is inclusiveness. Okay, inclusiveness or inclusivity is a highly tossed around term. Okay, keyword used by many people to really say that this is an inclusive practice here and there or something like that. But how inclusive really is your inclusive practice? Now, inclusiveness has gained interest from different organizations, and there is no unified definition of it yet. When we encounter the word inclusive, it would mean including everyone. It also defined as covering or intended to cover all items, costs, or services. That is from the definition of Merriam-Webster. Now, inclusiveness in the management application, this opens the field of inclusive business. However, it poses a different scope in other, like if you say definition of inclusive business. Like for example, inclusive business definition from different organizations. From FAO, you mean connection or inclusion of small producers to agricultural value chains. Okay, include a producer. In SIAT, or International Center for Tropical Agriculture, when we say inclusive business, we mean business that integrates low-income groups into value chains, into the to the value chains. That is for SIAP. For UNDP, you have models that build bridges between poor people and the business community. And for Oxfam, no, you have enterprises that adapt their buying practices, supply chain marketing strategy, and company operations for smallholder sourcing. So you have there another operation, another definition. You have uh, from SNB or from WBCSD. This is actually in Germany also. You have entrepreneurial initiatives that are economically profitable and environmentally and socially responsible. Okay, you have also from BIF, Business Innovation Facility. An inclusive business is the core business activities that will also tangibly expand opportunities for the poor and the disadvantaged in developing countries. Okay, we also have from GTZ, the uh, Deutsche Gesellschaft for International Suzami Minarbet. You have here, or from GTZ, you have, or GIZ, you have an inclusive business is actually a mutually beneficial business partnership. Mutually, if there are people who are poor or disadvantaged, they are not taken advantage, but they share equally or equitably with the benefits of the business. Okay, so these are the various definition of inclusiveness or inclusive business. But what is common to all these definitions from here to here? What is common? Common fabric of, say, for example, in all across definition is participation of the poor and disadvantaged sector. Okay, poor and the disadvantaged sector, or small farmer holders, or smallholder farmers, or something like that. Okay, so that is an inclusive business from their definition. So this inclusive business, there are also criteria for developing inclusive business. Okay, it provides living wage for vulnerable groups, uses flexible trading arrangement that makes it easier for smallholder suppliers to participate, supports farmers from small enterprise. Okay, so these are the imperatives for inclusive business, no, as defined by FAO. Now you have developing criteria for inclusive business. One is provides a living wage for vulnerable groups of smallholder, and then use flexible trading arrangement. And then you have also support farmer or small enterprise to establish stronger negotiation, build on skills of the expertise of the existing market. That means to say uh, you also mobilize or encourage using indigenous skills or expertise, available expertise of traders and other players in the entire value chains. Okay, the entire value chains. And it is scalable in the medium term so that a number of small actors involved can be increased in, or type of business model can be replicated, or it can be uh, outscaling. No? If it is applicable here, you increase the application. That means you outscale the application. Another also one important criteria for inclusive business, you have, allows for diversified income streams in the long term. Okay, so these are the things that are important for inclusive business from the perspective of FAO 2015. Okay, it assures sustainability. Okay, and also it actually also gives us the what gives us the assurance that our firm is operating within the schema, or within the principle of being sustainable, or and also not only sustainable but also ethically responsible. Okay? Remember, sustainability, resilience, and inclusiveness. Okay? Line-line na sila o mga different ano. But if your firm is compliant to sustainability requirement, compliance to resilience, and like it's also uh, has an inclusive business environment, well, your firm is almost like an ideal firm. But a good number or an increasing proportion of business establishments are actually going to this kind of, like, for example, standard requirement for business performance, especially in the agribusiness, because we are dealing with food, fiber, and feed that is actually alive. These are living, uh, these are living what? Living products that we are handling. So it should really uh, have a more stricter requirements for sustainability, for resilience, and for what? Inclusiveness. Okay, so that's very important for a particular product or agribusiness enterprise. So with that note, I would say let's make that thing happen in our agribusiness profession. So after this class, you are also reminded with our uh, written report or oral report as your learning task. As I said, I will assign the, the topic that you are going to do, that you are going to develop for you to report, and it's a graded report by within a couple of weeks from now when we discuss module 6. So that's the end of module 3, and next meeting we will discuss on, like, uh, lesson still on not module 3 but module 4. Next time we discuss on lesson 4.4, that is agribusiness structural frameworks and models applied in various government programs in the Philippines. Okay, how does frameworks and other like uh, analytical concepts are applied to various government programs, so that we would be seeing the proof of the pudding, because it's used in a particular program, and we can actually assess that program using the lens of this different, like, framework. Okay, that is our lesson for next meeting. So we are done with lesson 4.3. So with that note, I say thank you, and uh, have a good day.